As the world turns its focus on climate change, Australia has again been criticised for its response to the global issue. Climate activist Daniel Bleakley joins us now. Daniel, great to see you.
Great, thanks for having me, Anthony. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, why do you think Australia continues to lag behind other nations when it does come to climate action?
I think that the main reason that Australia is just so far behind on action on climate is because our government is just utterly beholden to the fossil fuel industry. And we've seen that over the last 20 years, that the coal industry and the oil and gas industry have their tentacles deep into our democracy, essentially. And they've continued to stifle any attempts to establish a renewable energy industry here in Australia, and it's also the reason we have the slowest electric vehicle uptake in the world as well.
Daniel, we've learnt today that Australia's Labor Party is voting with the Libs to set up a slush fund to give millions of dollars in public money to gas corporations. What do you know about that here?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we just hear over and over again. We have a number of federal politicians with close ties to the coal, oil and gas industry, and we've seen it again for the last 20 years that billions of dollars in public money is going to the fossil fuel industry instead of going to where it's needed, and that's into renewables and electric vehicles.
Yeah. Now, Daniel, you've been a great supporter of electric vehicle technology. I actually am a great fan and I love your videos that you're putting up on Twitter. What do you think needs to be done in this space to, I guess, better encourage people to switch and go to electric?
Well, I think all we need to do is look at the countries that have done this successfully over the last 20 years. And that's, in particular, that's Norway. So Norway's had a 25% subsidy on electric vehicles since 2001. And as a result, now 80% of all new vehicles in Norway are electric. The air in Oslo is now 30% cleaner than what it was just 10 years ago. So Norwegian citizens are all reaping the benefits of that. And petrol and diesel cars will be completely banned in Norway by 2025. So all the policy, all the right policies are out there. We just need to copy the countries that are doing it well.
Now, recently we saw that IPCC report released to the general public. What do you make of that report?
I haven't read the report, but I've read reports of the report, and it's extremely dire. It's something that activists have been talking about for many years now, and it's great that now the IPCC is reflecting the concerns that activists have had. It is really now or never. We must act on the climate crisis immediately and dramatically reduce our emissions, or else we're going to continue to go through tipping points and we're going to slide into runaway catastrophic climate change.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has again refused to commit to a target of net zero emissions by 2050. What do you think should be done here? Why is it? Is it because of the fossil fuel industry that I guess the government can't commit to that 2050 target?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that the Nationals in particular are holding back the coalition, but also the Liberal Party as well. Themselves are, again, deeply connected to the fossil fuel industry. Now, this change is inevitable. It is going to happen. It's happening around the world now. And these delaying tactics in Australia, they're just trying to prolong the profits of the coal, oil and gas industry again. It's short-termism. Some people may make a bit of money at the moment, but history will judge them. History will judge people by the actions that they take now, and history will look very poorly upon our current leadership in 5, 10, 20 years' time.
Yeah. Daniel, the United Nations, that IPCC report that we touched on just then, they say that the Earth will warm by more than 1.5 degrees Celsius within a decade if we don't do something about it. What do you think the future looks like if this happens, and I guess if we don't take their code red seriously?
Well, we are facing a horrific future, and the scientists can only do so much. They can only predict so many things, but there's just so many variables out there, and there are things that may happen which haven't been anticipated. We're going through tipping points at the moment, and this change may happen a lot faster than what scientists have predicted, and that's actually what we've seen play out over the last few years. As more and more science is done, we're finding out that actually the worst case scenario is what we're facing. Now, in another 2 years, maybe it gets the predictions get even worse. So we have to act immediately to reduce the probability of us sliding into that runaway catastrophic situation.
And I guess we saw that most recently with the Great Barrier Reef as well, Daniel, where no one really did anything about listing it in danger. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right. And we saw the Environment Minister, Susan Ley, flying around the world to lobby other fossil fuel exporting countries to make sure that it wasn't on that endangered World Heritage list. And again, this just shows that the government is more worried about perception. It's more worried about politics than actually acting on the crisis. And again, I will say that history will judge this government extremely poorly, and they will be held to account in future, as will all governments around the world who failed to act on the climate crisis.
Yeah. All right, Daniel, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time and joining us here on Ticker News. It's certainly an interesting space to watch, and hopefully political leaders act with urgency, because it is such a very important topic. Thanks for your time today.
Great. Thanks, Anthony.